All right. Welcome everybody to our Wow Wednesday. This is an incredible time to be able to share any little testimonies that you may have. It can be with the AO scanner itself, it can be with the 660 band, the inner illuminator, it can also be with the Cephi dots. Anything that you have, or it could even be on, it can be on anything, any of the products that we have with Solex. Because we have so many beautiful products. But I'm going to start off with the disclaimer. And the disclaimer is that the AO scan technology is not a medical device. The statements that we share here have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. And if you're sick, please consult with your healthcare provider. So we'll just go ahead and get this opened up, and I'm going to allow anybody that would like to share any of their testimonials. I will tell you mine right off the bat, that I've been doing here the last few days, and I do believe that this is what's helping me get through a significant life event recently that happened to us. My little piggy britches crossed over, and I miss her terribly. I miss her so bad. But I've been running a grief playlist on myself, and it's been running 24/7. And there's been a few people that have been running it on me too. And I can tell you that I literally feel as if I'm getting through this. I'm getting through this. And today I was able to jump on and do a live video on Facebook just to let everybody know I'm okay. I really am okay. But I've messaged a lot of people and let them know, and I've cried a lot. And I think they've just kind of worried about me. But I'm honestly in a beautiful place. Um, I'm I'm not at all in that dark place anymore, and the scanner is amazing. So I just want that's my testimony, is that it works. So when you're going through something and you think, oh, that thing is, not going to help me, it does. It helps. So and it can be the simplest thing, even if you don't know what to play complete frequency set, because that will kind of target just a little bit of everything that's going on as far as ailments go, and it will help to address what's going on in the body. So that's just a little bit on mine. Does anybody else have anything they would like to share tonight?
Me.
Okay, go for it.
This is Alice, and I'm brand new pretty much. I ordered my AO scanner on the 3rd, and I've just been using the program on my laptop and my regular iPhone with regular headphones. And I have been sick since Thursday of last week, so coming up on a week with a severe sore throat, could barely swallow, lots of sinus, lots of congestion. We live in Arizona, which people come to get rid of allergies, but we found a lot here.
Yeah.
And so I was running a body scan. Well, first, let me say, I went through all of the guides on the Facebook page, and I have to give Tammy kudos. They were so helpful. And then watching these Wednesday calls just kind of solidified everything for me. And so I ran a body scan, picked up the high points of what was showing that I needed for the lungs and the respiratory, the different areas that it hit. And I've been running this playlist continuously throughout the day, periods of an hour, 45 minutes, and then off an hour, whatever. And the last WoW that I watched, y'all talked about erasing, using the erase um, for frequencies. And so I did that 7 times on my throat. And for the first time, I'm swallowing, I'm able to talk, I have my voice. It wasn't there for 3 days, and I'm not in as much pain. And I am just so thrilled about that. With not having the actual device yet, I just can't wait to get my hands on that device, and I've been working on my clients with this. Um, the first one that I worked on with just the Cephi, just setting up different things, helping with grief, helping with sleep, helping with pain.
Mhm.
They're reporting back to me, fantastic night's sleep, no pain. I mean, what an opportunity and a tool we have. Thank you, thank you.
Yep, I agree. I couldn't agree more. So thank you, Alice, for sharing, especially when you don't feel so good. But we're so glad you're here. And I'm glad you're feeling better because there's nothing worse than having a sore throat and all that. I know I started to get a little bit of a something going on, but I know it was emotions. So I really worked on that a little bit and had a dot here for a little bit too, and then I took it off. But it certainly does help. So, anybody else want to share anything? And it can be about anything, guys. It can be any of the products that we have for Solex. Just unmute yourself and share away.
I'm gonna talk about a horse, Tammy.
Okay, go for it.
Well, I kind of thought I knew what was wrong with this horse. So, as you know, I'm practicing right now. So, I did a scan and everything came up to exactly what I was thinking on the horse. That was the coolest thing because I'm going, okay, I think, the way he looks and all this metabolic syndrome's real big in horses nowadays, and that's being diabetic.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I mean, everything was, I'm going to do another one Friday to, have a comparison, but I just thought that was pretty cool that that all showed up like that to me. Yeah.
It is incredible. I know that when Dr. Gursky, who is our veterinarian educator for Solex, he works with a lot of horses, and that's actually what Amber, went to him with the scanner with is I know this will help you a lot with the horses, and he goes, oh, hogwash. And he tells a story about, and I think it's in the training, or it might even be in some of the Solex calls where there was a horse that they were trying to impregnate, and something came up on the scan with one of their parts that he goes, well, that horse is never going to get impregnated if you don't fix this problem. But the scanner showed that. So,
Oh,
and it
wow. Cool.
it was something that a lot of I don't know. I'll have to find the video and send it to
That's
you. But
okay. Yeah.
that is actually what sold him on the scanner. And but
Well,
he's a big veterinarian down in Texas. You probably know him. It's
I
Kevin.
do know it.
Yeah. So and I actually got to take Piggy Britches to see him the first when she
That's
got sick the
cool.
first time. So he in fact when he looked at her, he goes, this is not the dog that's in liver and kidney failure. And I said, well, she was. She's not now, but she was. So the scanner's amazing. I mean, it really does help. And
Yeah.
I actually use that on her too for the transition part. We had a playlist for transitioning,
Yeah.
and I think that probably helped her as well. So
Yeah. I just found it fascinating because that was really the first time I'd ever, really thought, okay, I'm going to step out of the box and
yeah,
do it, and I'm just real excited about setting up my practice and getting all of it going. And yeah, I'm excited about it.
yeah.
So,
And I know that you can intuitively know, kind of what's wrong with the animals.
mm,
Just like
yes,
with
ma'am.
me, when I look at eyes, I can kind of get a picture
Sure.
prior to, and then when I run the scan, it just it just confirms it. And it's like,
Exactly.
wow. So
Exactly. It's just, it's that affirmation. Yeah, it is. I love it. I'm just excited about getting into it more.
yeah, it'll be great.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else have anything they would like to share? And those of you joining now, it's about anything with Solex. It can be the scanner, it can be the 660 band, it can be Cephi dots, it can be any of our supplements, anything that you find just amazing with our company and anything that has helped you. So feel free to unmute yourself and just share.
Tammy, I do have a client whose mother is passing, and I was wondering if you could share your transition
I'd be
playlist.
happy to. I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tammy, can I ask a couple questions?
Sure.
Um, there was at one point where Solex was actually I guess when they first came out with the mobile, and they were having a problem with people not using their device,
Mhm.
and so they used their cell phone or their laptop,
Sure.
and they ran the processor, all the time. They had devices that would burn up, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that still an issue? Because um, to be like when you're dealing with somebody who is talking about maybe using their own device and just getting a subscription,
Mhm.
is I mean, are there not um, technical things that their device needs, standards that their device needs to meet, so that doesn't happen to them? I
The,
mean,
the way Lauren explains this is that if you have a newer device that's less than 2 years old, you should be okay running the Solex program on there. However, if it's such a data hog that if you're a practitioner, I tell all my practitioners, I would not recommend running it on a computer or your own cell phone for very long, because it could potentially cause some issues. Now I've been in person with Lauren, and he's personally been running a scan on his personal cell phone, but that's just for himself. So I don't think that the thing is that our devices are calibrated to handle the app, and it's going to be more accurate. Um,
yeah,
Whereas if you're running it on a computer or a cell phone, you're going to lose. I think if unless something has changed in the past, he's always said between 7 and 15% accuracy, which is not a lot, but it could be a determining factor if someone was having some sort of a chronic health issue. So, I have hardly ever ran my technology on my cell phone or my computer. If I do, it's for demonstration purposes, and I know I'm not going to really look at those scans as, you know, accurate, but they're pretty darn close. Um, so I would just caution people using it on their cell phones or their, unless it was an empty device, something that they just
yeah.
don't use for anything else. It might be okay. But
That's what I did because I was like so cautious, and my background is IT. And so I was like, you know, I don't think this is a good idea, but if you just need to be aware of it, and that this is your choice if you want to make that choice. Second question is the headphones,
mhm,
like the Bluetooth bone conducting
yeah,
headphones. Um, Aftershock has one that's really good, but that's like $79, and then Solex is like $200. And my wired, device, my wired headphones, I don't, for some reason they were working and then they stopped working. I'm not sure why, but anyway, um, is there really that big of a difference to use the Solex?
the so
They say
the
oils in there, but
yeah, the Solex wireless ones are actually calibrated as well for the app. So this is what they came up with whenever we first started, and they were selling out of the devices so quickly that they couldn't keep up. So they offered the Bluetooth headphones as an option to use along with your own personal devices. So they're calibrated to handle and give you more accurate results. But again, as a practitioner, I don't know that I would use those even on a separate device, because if you're doing 15 to 20 people a day, the chances are that you might have some obscurity with it. But then again, I don't know, that's probably a real good question just to send into support and see what they say, because every time I ask, they say, well, it's encouraged to get the Solex devices, it's discouraged to
yeah,
run them on your own devices. So
yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Any other or any other testimonials that anybody has? And I'm happy to answer questions too, but any other testimonials that anyone has here on the call that they'd like to share? And it can be something small, you know, it will help somebody else, I'm sure.
I mean, we use the Steffi playlist all the time. Like I make custom playlists.
Yeah.
And I think it's very helpful. You know, we were out of town and like we'll go for like little day trips and we had just gotten to Charleston and my husband was like, I have a toothache, you know, and he was miserable. He wanted to go home. And I was like, we just got here. There's no way, you know. And I ran the Steffi playlist on, like I made a playlist or I already had one in there for his tooth.
Mhm.
And within 2 minutes, he was like, he was better.
Yeah.
And he couldn't even believe it, you know. And anyway, yeah, it works really good. We run it, I run it on the animals, but on the animals, you can only run vitals. Is that correct?
Correct. Now, when Piggy Britches was sick, the first time, Dr. Gursky told me, he says, go ahead and build her under a human profile and run her just like she were a human. So you can do that. Um, and that way it'll kind of give you a little bit more idea of kind of what's going on. But he was able to look at those scans with clarity where I wasn't able to. So if you're working with a vet, you might be able to do that for them. But I know even on the body systems, when I ran that for her, a lot of the issues she was having was coming up. So I I I mean I think that it can be a little much if you do it too much, but I was doing that scan like every 3 or 4 days on her just to kind of get an idea if we were having any type of improvement. And I know with her just recently, one of the things that I kept thinking was maybe she was having a tooth issue because she kept rubbing her snout on the ground just kind of violently, like she was wanting to get a tooth out. And so I ran the tooth module on her, and I did find a couple of teeth that were kind of in the front of her mouth that I started to question. But again, you know, she was in such a situation that I felt like there was a lot more going on than just that. Um, you know, because when the vet did blood work, he just immediately told me she's in renal failure, and I thought, don't quite believe that because she's urinating fine. She's not really losing her urine anywhere. Um, but okay, I know. I think it's just some sort of an infection that is, you know, and her scan results were showing that. So, and my veterinarian actually has an AO scanner, but he doesn't use it as often as he should. So, I keep telling him, you know, Doc, you could really help a lot of animals if you'd really start comparing. But I think it's just he's so busy. But his wife, you know, him and his wife could probably do it together. But they'll get there. You know, a lot of people just they don't get frequencies and they don't quite understand it. And you know, but if you start comparing and seeing, you're able to see a lot of what's going on. So, but you can do that. You can run them under a human profile.
Have you taken that new class that they came out with?
Oh, the one with the two NDs. I bought it. I have not had chance because of everything, you know, with Day of Discovery. I bought it right before the Day of Discovery and then us going to North Carolina and then Piggy getting sick. I've just not had any time. I mean, I've really literally been around the clock with her. So I
Yeah.
think things will slow down and I'll be able to, but I think that course is definitely a must have. I think it will help a lot of people. The printout, the book alone, of course, I gave my book to my mom, but the printout alone, I mean, it's very good information. So I would definitely I tell all my team, go ahead and get that because it will be updated too. So, and so is
Mhm.
Alistair Haynes, you know, her homeopathy one. So,
Mhm.
And I think Becky Coots will be too. But I mean, they're all good. All the courses are good. I tell everybody you'll get something out of them. So
Perfect. Thank
yeah,
you.
you're welcome. Anybody else have anything they want to share?
I come to learn more.
Yeah.
I buy it and then I have surgery and I'm laying around and it's like, there's so much I want to learn.
Yeah. You and I
Yeah.
need to connect. We need to connect on a Zoom and I can show you everything on it.
I'm going to take a trip, so you just hang on.
You what?
I'm going to take a trip, but as soon as I find out what my nose is going to do,
Oh,
I'm going
okay.
to take a few days and maybe come your way.
Oh, I'd love that. Love that.
So,
Love that.
So what's the difference between hair loss and alopecia and the frequency?
The
Um,
way Lauren explains some of the frequencies that maybe have the same name
mhm,
or maybe mean the same is that it's just a different approach with a different type of frequency. So, like with your antiseptic 1 and antiseptic 2, it's still an antiseptic. It's just a different frequency with a different approach. So, try one. If it doesn't work, try the other one. So that's what I have found with him and how he's
awesome.
explained it. So, it just play with them, whatever works for you. It's a lot like homeopathy. If you know anything about homeopathy,
Mhm.
I've been studying it for the last 25 years, but if you know anything about homeopathy, no matter what it is, you can take a whole bottle of something of the homeopathy, and if it doesn't affect you, I mean, it just won't help you. It's the same type of thing with frequencies. If your body doesn't need it or doesn't, want it, it won't use it. So it won't hurt you. But when you do find the right frequency or the right homeopathic remedy, you'll immediately see an effect. Just like I'll give you an example with piggy britches. I made up uh, phosphorus for her, and then I made up um, oh, they're all out on the counter in there. I made up like seven different homeopathy remedies for her, and I gave her one. Didn't really see much of a difference, and I did all 200C because I wanted to really see an impact with her. But there was one of them I gave her, and immediately she fell asleep right after administering it to her. So I knew I found the right remedy for her, and every time I gave it to her, she would sleep for about 2 hours and come back, and that's when she started to become more alert. And I thought, okay, we're on to something. And I thought, okay, we're turning
Wow.
a corner. But then she just ended up going back down after I gave her a liver tincture that came recommended. And once I gave that to her, then she ended up throwing it up about an hour later, and then she just took a turn. And I
Oh,
knew, and I thought, oh, she's got something more going on, maybe with the liver that we don't even know. And I'm kind of collaborating with another animal person that has worked with some different animals. And she goes, Tammy, I feel like maybe she had either sludge, she might have possibly had some sort of a tumor or a growth, and because she had all this mucus that she was throwing up, and that's obvious in a liver sign. But we just couldn't get her past that. So
wow.
yeah. The
Well,
body
thank
will show you signs. It will definitely show you signs. So when you're doing these frequencies, just really tune into yourself. And if something's not working, just switch it up, and
right.
try something different because you're going to find the right combination.
Thank you. And then the inner voice, how often? I mean, that's just like as needed, right?
Oh
When you're doing
man,
the inner voice.
I can tell you when I first started using the scanner or any time that I'm sick, I will use right at the beginning, I was using it 5, 6, 7 times a day because I was really dumping a lot of emotions because every time I would listen to the tones, I would just start bawling. And I'm like, oh, gee, guy, why is this impacting me like this? Or even there was some times that I would do the inner voice and I would get incredibly angry. And Scott go,
Mhm.
what is going on with you today? And I'm like, I don't know, I'm dealing with something and I can't figure it out either. But it is just insane the things that you'll go through, and then you look back and you go, oh, it's because I was doing the inner voice so often. And I know for Piggy Britches, whenever I was working with her, I was scanning her vitals probably, at least 3 times a day and letting her listen to her tones. But there were times where, I felt like we were losing a battle, and I would do it 5 or 6 times, all through the night. And I'd let her listen to her tones, but she would just calm way down when she listened to her tones. So she would have an anxiety time, and I'd play the tones, and you could just see her whole body relax. So as often as you want to. Lauren says there's not any harm in doing it 20, 30 times a day if you want to. There's no
Okay.
harm in that. Because
And so am I understanding when we're saying this,
Mhm,
we do the recording
mhm.
and those pulses, those tones are what we're listening to 30 times a day or whatever, correct?
Uh, you actually can do your inner voice multiple times. So run that scan
Okay.
multiple times. And here's the reason why, Alice, is because, and Lauren says this best. He says, when you throw a pebble in the pond, you'll get the
Mhm.
ripples. Well, if you
Mhm.
throw another pebble in there, you get different ripples. So every time we run that inner voice, you're getting a different snapshot in time, and your emotions are changing constantly. So you're going to get different tones, you're going to get different recommendations in your inner voice report, because we're ever changing. There's just this ebb and flow, ebb and flow, ebb and flow. So because some people go, well, I ran that inner voice and then 1 second later I ran it again, and they're totally different. Well, yeah, they're supposed to be different. They're not going to be the same. So
Right.
people don't tend to grasp that. But yeah, don't be afraid to use it more often. You'll actually get over your illness quicker too. We got two
And then
minutes.
that leads me to my last question on that.
Sure.
Is it wise to go back to an older inner voice?
I've worked with a few clients myself that say that they'll listen to one set for over a week because it really has impacted them. I
Okay.
say I say if it works for you and you're getting results from it, there's no harm in it. I personally like to run a new list all the time. I've never listened to anything past, that first. I mean, when I run it, I listen to it and then I'm done and I'll do another one. I've never listened to one over and over to help.
That's awesome. Thank you.
It doesn't matter. On Jody's asking how much time needs to be between each inner voice. It really doesn't matter. You can do it as often as you wish. There doesn't have to be a time limit in between.
Oh, some this is Jody, sorry. But sometimes when I run one and then I want to run one right away, it'll come up with a little message that tells me I have to wait. I just ran one.
Now that will do that on vitals, but I've never seen that on just the inner voice. Are
Okay.
you are
Okay.
you seeing that just on the inner voice or the
I,
easy scan? It won't let you run it over and over.
okay. It's the easy scan.
Okay,
So
yeah.
that's right. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you'll
Thank
you
you.
need you need to at least allow probably a good 30 minutes to an hour before you can run another easy scan.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, guys, we are a minute away from the Solex company call, so jump on the YouTube channel and plug into that. That starts in 1 minute. Thank you all for being here. I'm just in full gratitude from you all being here. So we'll see you next week. Love you
Thank
guys.
you.
You're
Bye.
Bye,
welcome.
Tammy. Thank
Bye.
you.
You're welcome.